Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live my news up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
President Akufo-Addo to speak on U.S.-Ghana Defense Corporation agreement at 8 p.m. tonight.
Five suspected armed robbers gunned down in Accra.
More than 1,500 households displaced in Salaga in the northern region after a rainstorm.
Later on in business, tonight prices of petroleum products likely to go up by 2% in the first pricing window, which ends April 15th.
And on the foreign front this evening, losing party in Sierra Leone vows to mount legal challenge against results of presidential runoff.
I'll bring you details of these and more, plus some stories including business, sports and entertainment news tonight here on News 360. Feel free to join us with your thoughts, your views, your comments and opinions on this you're going to be talking about tonight here on News 360. Now to our first story tonight, President Akufo-Addo is expected to address the nation this evening at 8 p.m. on the U.S.-Ghana Military Cooperation Agreement. The president's decision to speak follows public outcry, including a demonstration that was organized by a group called Ghana First, calling for the agreement to be terminated or amended. On the president's official Twitter handle Thursday, he informed the nation of the need for him to break his silence on the issue. Some security experts have also argued that the agreement could put Ghana in the spotlight of terrorist organizations, most of whom are anti-United States. The agreement was ratified by Parliament 2 weeks ago on the last day of sitting, though minority members walked out in protest.
We'll bring you more on that, but on to some other stories. The Accra Regional Police Command has gunned down 5 suspected armed robbers in a midnight operation. Now, the deceased were part of 15 suspected armed robbery gang embarking on a robbery action in Accra and Kaswa. Meanwhile, the police have mounted a manhunt for the remaining 10 suspected members of the gang.
The incident occurred at about 1:20 in the early hours of Thursday, April 5. The police says an intelligence about the gang's intended operation prompted a deployment to the location. The police team then mounted surveillance on the suspected robbers who were using a saloon car, a taxi and a sprinter vehicle heading for their intended destinations in Accra and Kaswa. The police attempt to pull the vehicle out got the suspects alarmed. The suspected robbers immediately opened fire on the police team, narrowly missing them. The police returned fire, killing the 5 in the process. The rest managed to escape, possibly with gunshot wounds. 2 locally manufactured pistols, 1 foreign pistol, 9 rounds of AA cartridges, 1 heavy-duty cutter, 2 machetes, 3 sharp knives, talisman among others were found on board the vehicles they were using. Accra Regional Police Commander DCOP George Alex Mensah called on the public, especially hospitals and other health facilities, to be on the lookout and report anyone who may come to them with gunshot wounds.
The Accra Regional Police Command strongly suspect those who escaped sustained some gunshot wounds and will appeal to the public, especially medical and health facilities, as well as traditionalists or herbalists, to report any strange wounds brought to their facilities for treatment to the police.
The bodies of the 5 suspected robbers have since been deposited at the police hospital morgue pending further investigations.
Well, an Accra Circuit Court has deferred the sentencing of 2 of the suspects involved in the fatal raid and jailbreak at the Kwabenya police station on January 21, 2018. Now, the court adjourned the case after the judge announced he was to attend to another equally important meeting.
The case was adjourned early on Wednesday, April 4. The decision, however, did not go down well with counsel for Nancy Denta, the only female among the accused persons. Lawyer Bernard Redu believes it infringes on the liberty of his client.
We are worried. 3 weeks ago, we applied for bail, and the court refused the bail and said that he would make sure that he expedites action on the trial. But for close to 4 sittings now, we have done no business. And these people are behind bars. I mean, their liberties have been curtailed. And yet, we don't really find any way forward as to when trial will even begin.
The 2 persons who escaped from the Kwabenya police cells were convicted on their own plea by the Accra Circuit Court, presided over by Judge Abuaje Tano. The 2, Kofi Dakun aka Kofi Duku 25, a trader, and Emmanuel Kote 25, motorcyclist, were sprung from police custody after 6 armed men stormed the police station on January 21, 2018 at about 1:30 a.m. Police Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi was killed in the incident. They were charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit crime, to wit escape from lawful custody and escape from lawful custody contrary to the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960, Act 29. They pleaded guilty to both charges, paving the way for the sentencing. 7 inmates escaped, but 4 of them were arrested. 2 of the escapees were jailed for 30 months after pleading guilty to conspiracy to escape from lawful custody. After pleading guilty to conspiracy to escape from lawful custody and escaping from lawful custody. The remaining 9 accused persons are still standing trial, as they have pleaded not guilty to the charges of possession of firearms without authority, abetment to possessing firearms without lawful authority, conspiracy to commit crime to wit escape from lawful custody, and abetment to escape from lawful custody, all of which are contrary to Section 23(226)(c) and 21 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, Act 29. The case has been adjourned to Monday, April 9.
Now, more than 1,500 households have been displaced in Salaga in the northern region after a rainstorm on Wednesday. The Member of Parliament for Salaga South, Salifu Adam Brahima, and the MCE, Mohammed Tamimu, joined NADMO officials to visit the affected areas.
The northern region was hit by a rainstorm between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. Wednesday. Affected residents in Salaga were busily salvaging a few items from the debris of the destruction during a tour of the municipality by officials of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, on Thursday morning. The district NADMO officer, Al-Hassan Ibrahim, hints of an increase in displaced persons as counting has just begun. The Member of Parliament for the area, Salifu Brahima, appealed for immediate support for the affected persons.
Right now we are still doing the assessment, but as you can see, unfortunate students are sitting. You can see the roof off at the mercy of the weather. So we're going around with the district chief executive and the community leader to see what we can do to assist the poor kids.
Meanwhile, victims of a previous rainstorm that occurred in March 2018 are yet to receive relief items apart from some roofing sheets supplied by the Member of Parliament. The rainstorm, which swept through the entire region, also left most communities within the Tamale metropolis without power. Wednesday's downpour is the second in 1 month recorded in the metropolis.
Now, the District Chief Executive of Zabzugo in the Northern Region, Ahmed Abubakar Idriso, has revealed that the District Security Committee, after a meeting on Wednesday night, has resolved to escort members of the Fulani ethnic group to bring back their cattle. This is because some cattle strayed following the shooting that erupted on Wednesday, April 4th, 2018, between the Konkumbes and the Fulanis in Zabzugo. Meanwhile, Naja, the victim who sustained cutlass wounds, is still on admission in Zabzugo Hospital responding to treatment. One person has so far been arrested.
And let's turn to some stories in education this evening, as government has released over 40 million Ghana cedis to offset the arrears of 2,566 teachers nationwide. The amount released through the Controller and Accountant General's Department span from 2012 to 2016. Deputy Minister of Education Dr. Yao Edu implored the aggrieved NAGRAT members to rescind their decision on the strike.
Leadership of the National Association of Graduate Teachers has threatened a nationwide strike. NAGRAT is demanding the payment of their 2012 to 2016 salary arrears for more than 14,000 teachers. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance, through the Controller and Accountant General, has released more than 40 million cedis to pay the teachers. A Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Yao Edu pleaded with the disgruntled teachers to resume work.
After assuming office, my minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, took on the responsibility to meet with NAGRAT and said, we're going to do the right thing. They went through validation. Everything has been concluded. It has been established that some teachers are due some amount of salaries. We are working with the Ministry of Finance. Monies have been released as I speak with you. But of course, it's a system. We cannot just write a check at the Ministry of Education and give it to every teacher. If we are allowed to do that, I would do it, so that teachers will be happy, but we can't do that.
The Deputy Minister had earlier toured some selected schools for the WASSCE in Accra. He first visited the Faith Community Baptist Senior High at Medina to assess the ongoing WASSCE exams. The environment was calm here, and NAGRAT members invigilated. In all, 183 of the students wrote the literature and English papers. The Deputy Minister and his team also made another stopover at Achimota Senior High School. The precinct of the school was quiet and calm. 253 students participated in the exams. The Deputy Minister warned heads of schools not to dismiss students for non-payment of fees.
When these RTs are not complied with, what will it be doing?
You know, I always tell people that headmasters are very responsible. And when we speak with them, they understand. Nobody will put their job on the line because of a student or two that have to go and collect these bills. So Ghana Education Service has issued a directive. All headmasters must comply, and I have great confidence in them that they will comply.
At the school, things are much different. Parents are very responsible, and they pay all their fees. So we don't have incidences of sacking students for fees.
Some of the students shared their experiences after the first two papers.
Question 1 was about a book Faceless and how we should sympathize a particular character in the book.
I answered number 2, that was about Adade, the character of Adade.
What was the character of Adade?
Well, he was an unsupportive father, yeah. He only cared about paying the school fees of the children, and then he didn't really care about the emotions of the family.
More than 3,600 students are undertaking the 2018 WASSCE exams.
Let's still stay a bit further on this issue. Joining me in studio is Chico Banaba. He's the Vice President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT. Good evening to you, Mr. Banaba. Thank you for your time this evening. But are your members really on strike? Because, I mean, from what we see, they are still going to work. And the minister is saying that, look, the teachers, they are responsible. They are not going to leave their kids they've taught all this while to this point when they are writing exams just because NAGRAT says they should go on strike.
Thank you, Alfred. And good evening to your cherished viewers and teachers all over the country. The fact is, as we speak, the senior high school are on vacation and basic school are in school. So our members are on strike. When you go around and see some teachers doing their work, they may either be NAT members or CCT. So it is not only NAGRAT teachers who are in the schools. We have NAT and CCT.
So at the basic level, the impact of your strike is being felt?
It's felt, seriously felt.
So what do you really want from government? Tell me.
It is about unpaid monies. This started somewhere in 2012, where the then government, NDC, introduced a policy of paying monies for only 3 months in spite of the number of months you worked, which we kicked against. Right.
I remember that.
And
so how much are you owed now?
The amount we cannot tell now because it involves more than 50,000 teachers. But we have been able to validate about 14,875 as I speak to you. And according to the information we have now, they have released
40 million.
40 million.
40 million.
That
CDs.
will go to 2,566.
Yes.
Make the calculation of 14,875, which has not been paid, but have been validated. And we agreed that that money should be paid in March.
So you want the full amount or these 14,000 that have been validated?
It is not possible. We know government is burdened.
Absolutely.
We agree. But we need a schedule, an agreed program of payment schedule.
So you want a payment schedule for the 14,000, not the 65,000 that's owed?
The validation is ongoing.
Yes.
We have agreed that we have finished with this 14,000. So let's have the schedule payment for this number.
But you admit that, I mean, in your own words, government is burdened, but yet you want a payment plan. Aren't you asking too much of government?
Unfortunately, we are not. Our serious problem is that we've had series of promises. The last one was when the vice president went to Cape Coast at a NAD program and promised that they had released 14 million. 14 million. That money, as I speak to you, not a teacher has benefited a CD from it.
That 14 million that you said has been released?
That is it.
So where did the money go?
That is the question we must ask. So today we have a letter saying that they have released 40 million. And the Deputy Minister for Finance is saying it's tomorrow that the money will hit our account. We are waiting tomorrow.
So if the money hits your account tomorrow, then what?
Then we'll have the program for the payment of the rest.
No, so what it means is that this 40 million is not enough goodwill for you to want to call off the strike.
It is a very goodwill that we are accepting. But we need a payment plan for the rest. We are still talking. Today we met the Minister for Labour and Employment, and he has asked that tomorrow we'll continue. And he has agreed that there should be a payment plan because our members are seriously worried. They need the money.
No, because I heard the Deputy Minister of Information, Kojo Pokuma, say that the GS is even surprised at your move because it smacks of some bad faith. You know
that is not true.
You've been through this process, you're validating, now 40 million has been paid to some 2,566 of your members that have been validated, but you still want to go on strike.
It will surprise you to know that we started this agitation, NAGRAT. When the ministry they invited only NAT. Why didn't they invite us? And they gave this letter to NAT without our notice. It is today that we went to the Ministry of Labour and Employment that we were given that letter. Why? Why did they hide the letter from us?
Did you ask them? Okay.
Well, yes, we did. We asked, and they never gave that letter to us. It's today that we were given that letter. And if you look at the letter, the date is pen written. Why? What happened to the letter?
Mr. Naba, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
For tomorrow.
Thank you very much. We are praying.
Hopefully you call off the strike.
Yeah, we are praying. Thank you very much.
Chico Banaba is the Vice President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT. Still have you on News 360. We'll be back shortly.
Let's now take a look at our MTN Video Reports this evening as MacDonald Amwa reports on a complete police station that has been left unoccupied for over a year at Atwabo.
Yeah, this is the Atwabo police station in Eastern Izma Elembele district of the Western region. This police station has been there for the past 1 year. It's a very, 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 very beautiful structure. This is the main police station, and then this is the residential part of the police station. It's state of the art. It has been left deserted for some time now. It has been there for over a year, as I earlier on said, and it's left at the peril of the weather. And we must note that Atuabo is a coastal community, and I hope the IGP is taking note of this. We need personnel here to man the place. Other places do not have police stations, but we have one here in Atuabo, and it's left deserted. Reporting from Atuabo, Eastern Inzimaland, Elembele district of the Western region. This McDonald Amwa. I'm out.
He's out. But you can also send your video reports via WhatsApp number 055-1433-044. 055-1433-044. Back to some business news this day.
Welcome back to News 360. Let's now delve into some news from the world of business. And the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has hinted it will on Friday engage the Ghana Revenue Authority to agree on how best to implement the new taxpayer identification number. The engagement, the agency noted, will provide the easiest way to enable people access the taxpayer registration system as well as DVLA services.
The tax identification number, TIN, is an 11-digit unique number given for identification and also to enable the Ghana Revenue Authority credit persons whenever they pay tax.
You cannot file a case at the courts. You cannot obtain a passport from the passport office, obtain a driver's license and register your vehicle at the DVLA, nor bid for contracts from government agencies. You cannot conduct business with ministries, departments and agencies, and you cannot conduct business with metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies.
Customers at the Driver, Vehicle and Licensing Authority, DVLA, were not aware of the directive. Deputy Director for Driver Training, Testing and Licensing, Kafui Semovo, says the DVLA intends to meet the GRA for discussions on the way forward.
The authority will be able to implement that directive, but we will need to put in certain measures that will make it convenient for people to comply with the directive or with that law. Now, if somebody walks in for a service that takes 30 minutes and the person is required to provide TIN number and the person doesn't have it, it means that that person will have to go to the GRA office, get a TIN registration done before the person comes back to the DVLA. But between the DVLA and the GRA, how do we collaborate to make sure that whilst we get compliance from our customers, the services we provide also are not unduly delayed?
But how soon will be the engagement between the two entities?
We have actually made a contact with the GRA. We are looking at having a discussion by Friday so that we will agree on the way forward. Then we can communicate to the public what we expect of them to do.
At the 37th branch of the DVLA, a lot of customers who spoke off camera said they were not asked to provide a TIN before transacting their business. Meanwhile, at the DVLA Prestige Center off the Switchback Road, officials said they have educated and directed customers to visit the GRA offices to register for the TIN. A customer at the Prestige Center, Tete Anolabi, had a TIN.
In fact, if I didn't have it, I would find it very difficult coming here anyway. So I'm confident that they will give me a service with my TIN. That's why I came. I think on the average it was good. Cutting out all the pressure, having to go to the other sites. I mean, it was relaxed. They served you well. They spoke to you well. And it didn't take that long for me to get the service I came for.
The taxpayer identification number is to broaden the tax net to capture potential taxpayers.
We'll bring you more on the outcome of discussions between the DVLA and the GRA. On to other stories now. Prices of petroleum products are likely to go up by 2% at the local pumps in the first pricing window, which will end April 15. The Institute for Energy Security projects fuel prices could go up in the second window if government does not intervene to stabilize prices.
In the month of March, prices were fairly stable at the local pumps.
In March, the first pricing window, we were supposed to see some price reductions. It didn't happen. That's unfortunate. But the second pricing window, prices were fairly stable for consumers. So, yeah, that's the good news for the past window. But in April, definitely we'll be paying more for fuel.
The three main factors for pricing petroleum products under the deregulated regime are crude prices on the world market, existing taxes and levies, and the foreign exchange rates. Principal research analyst of the petroleum unit at the Institute for Energy Security, Richmond Roxon, explains the pricing factors warrant an increase in prices at the local pumps.
Crude oil prices went up slightly on the international market. It's averaging around $67 per barrel. For finished products, gasoline went up by 3%. Gas oil, what we normally call diesel, also went up by some 2%. Our CD was fairly stable, even though it depreciated slightly within the period. So on average, we're expecting that prices will go up at the various oil marketing companies between 1 and 2%, depending on how competition will go within the period.
Currently, on the average, petrol sells at 4 cedis 51 pesos, while diesel is sold at 4 cedis 49 pesos. Should fuel prices go up by 1 to 2%, the new prices could be on the average of 4 cedis 57 pesos for petrol and 4 cedis 56 pesos for diesel. The Institute for Energy Security further indicated without government intervention through the National Petroleum Authority, there will be further increases in the second pricing window, which starts on April 16th.
In the second pricing window for April as well, even though all the figures are not out yet, so far we've had prices going up on the international market, and if we don't find any intervention from the National Petroleum Authority using the price stabilization and recovery levy, whether for the first or second pricing window, definitely consumers will be paying more for the first and second pricing window in April.
Now, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Echiahene is urging the Bank of Ghana to make known the variables used to compute the maiden Ghana reference rate of 16.82%. Speaking to TV3 Business, he said the public deserves to know how the 16.82% figure was arrived at in order to gain a better understanding of the new model of determining interest rate in the country.
The Bank of Ghana announced a new model for calculating interest rates in the country, beginning this month of April. The system, known as the Ghana reference rate, will be replacing the base rate model and will be used as the benchmark interest rate, which commercial banks will use to determine their interest rates. The maiden rate has been set at 16.82%. However, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Echiahene wants the central bank to throw more light on the new model for calculating interest rates in the country. He said in other jurisdictions, such as in Kenya, the reference rate was computed using the policy rate, the average T-bill rate of 2 months, which were divided by simple averages to arrive at the reference rate.
In Ghana, when I saw this in the Bank of Ghana side, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't just believe it. It shouldn't come from Bank of Ghana. It shouldn't. No explanation, no computation, no variables calculation. All that we see, things have been changed. If you go to Kenya, they have a whole space over there that spelled out the professionalism, signed by the governor, dated by the governor. That is information. That is an authentic information.
He said for the reference rate system to work effectively, there is the need for the credit reference bureaus to assess the risk levels of individuals and corporate institutions.
Bank of Ghana is doing with the credit reference bureaus, 4 of them in Ghana. They should be charged to do that work so that we begin to risk rate all customers, corporate individuals, other bodies, so that at one point in time, I know my risk level.
He said the new framework for base rate determination will not necessarily bring down interest rates in the country.
Impression that this is going to help the SMEs. It is not good. The SMEs are most people who are highly risk and that they have to pay. You can't charge Unilever the same price as an SME in my village. We need to look at the variables that goes in and then see how best we can improve the risk rating.
In some other top business news this evening, the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, says government will soon launch the Nation Builders Corps as a means of tackling the growing unemployment in the country. The corps is expected to create 100,000 jobs. The modules involved in the corps include Teach Ghana, Feed Ghana, Heal Ghana, and Revenue.
The Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, says Africa is on target to combating its high youth unemployment rates. Speaking at the 5th Annual Africa Think Tank Summit in Accra, Ken Ofori-Atta reiterated the implementation of the Nations Builders Corp, a multi-pronged initiative aimed to create and sustain youth employment opportunities.
We will also soon be launching the Nation Builders Corps, which is a program which is 100,000 jobs to be created for tertiary school graduates to contribute to nations' development and gain valuable work experience by serving on short-term basis in modules such as the Teach Ghana module, Heal Ghana for people in the health sector, Feed Ghana in agriculture, Clean Ghana, and for me in particular, Revenue Ghana, which is to employ some 5,000 graduates.
The program will implement public service improvement in the education, health, agriculture, sanitation, and the revenue sectors. But the Minister of Finance suggests that while measures are being taken to combat unemployment, there are still challenges.
It's a sad testament to a nation when you have a society or association called Unemployed Graduates Association. That's really how bad it is, and you kind of go to bed and wake up wondering when the Ghana or West Africa spring will emerge.
Analysts predict that by 2050, 29% of the world's youth population will live in Africa. African youth are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than adults. Out of those employed, 35% of them are in unstable jobs.
And that's all the business news we've got for you this evening on News 360. Visit our website, it's 3news.com, for some more business stories. On to you, Alfred.
Thank you, Natalie. But Public Relations Officer of the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, Agnes Kujo, has given assurance the indefinite strike declared by the National Association of Graduate Teachers, that's NAGRAT, would not disrupt the ongoing West African Senior Secondary Certificate examinations. While she noted security measures in all the centers has also been heightened to prevent leakages. Agnes Kujo was speaking to TV3 in Accra.
The National Association of Graduate Teachers Wednesday declared an indefinite strike over outstanding salary arrears due its members. The association, at a press conference in Accra, said it was carrying through its ultimatum, issued mid-February, to declare the strike should government fail to pay the arrears, outstanding since 2013, and amounting to some 50 million cedis. Public Relations Officer of the West African Examination Council, WAEC, Agnes Kujo, gave assurance the strike would not affect the ongoing WASI examinations.
We haven't heard of anything contrary as of now, so we are still monitoring, and I believe that the Ministry and the Ghana Education Service are in talks with the teachers, since these teachers are staff of the Ghana Education Service. So whatever it is, we'll be in touch with the GES and the Ministry, and then appropriate measures will be taken as and when necessary. But as of now, everything is going on well.
Addressing the issue of leakages, she noted security measures in all the centers has also been heightened to prevent such occurrences.
We've put in place a number of security measures to ensure that the exam is conducted successfully, and we are expectant, and we know that things will go on.
380,000 students from 915 schools across the country are expected to sit the exam, which began on April 3, 2018. Let's stay on education, as final year students of the Takrady Technical Institute in the Western region are agitating over a directive by the school authorities for them to pay their full fees despite government's announcement of a 50% reduction. The WASI exam started on Monday, April 9, 2018, and the school is demanding that the students pay their full fees before they are given their index numbers for the examination. However, the students argue the school's directive is at variance with what government has announced.
We are currently on the campus of the Takrady Technical Institute. Now, earlier in the day, scores of students from the Takrady Technical Institute came to our studios and complained that the authorities are asking them to pay unapproved fees. Now, before today, they heard on the airwaves that government has announced a 50% reduction in their fees.
Just today that they announced that TTI is not among. But we know we are all final years. Then we said, no, this will not happen here. They said on the 10th, we are going to start our final practicals. But they are telling us if you, by from today to Monday, then you haven't finished paying that 140 cedis, you are not going to get your index number to do your practicals. If you don't do that practicals too, there's no need to do the written side, because immediately you fill the practicals, you have filled all.
We came to the school and we met with the vice principal in charge of academics, Alfred Davis, and he tells us that indeed there's such a directive, but unfortunately the directive covers only boarding schools. Takoradi Technical Institute is not a boarding school, it's a day school, so the directive will not cover students here. But this was not communicated well to the student. That gave rise to the agitations that we are seeing.
Since from 1 year to school ID, one coin was in a what discount. But I students in this school is can't registration.
We have paid for our registration, but until now, we have not received our index numbers, whilst WASI is ongoing.
Whereby was start to WASI, was starting up to Sensen Candos number.
Bill now, the man, every time, this time. WASI, quarter.
Every term, we are billed for quarter. We have been paying till now, but we have never had any lessons on cultural studies.
But as you can see in the background, the authorities are now trying to explain to them the nitty-gritties of the 50% reduction. Eric Hireje, TV3 News, TTI, Takoradi.
Particular story and bring you a lot more details. It unfolds there in the Takoradi Technical Institute. But Vice Chancellors Ghana is warning that the provision of quality higher education could be compromised if funding to tertiary institutions is not improved. At the first Vice Chancellors Ghana Higher Education Conference held in Accra, the chairman of the association, Professor Gabriel Eyumte, said government currently generates 30% of the 70% funding for the management of universities.
Higher education in Ghana has for years been faced with several challenges, including accessibility, affordability, low faculty to student ratio, inadequate infrastructure and funding. With regards to public universities, 70% of funding for management is expected to come from government, with the 30% remainder supposed to be from the university's internally generated fund, donors and international students. However, government has for years not been consistent with the payment of the entire fund, leaving managers resorting to loans.
Some of the universities have no international students. There are no donor funds coming. So you have only the 10% contribution from the students, which is coming for doing all other things apart from paying salaries. The government, 70%, they bring in something somewhere around 40 that pays the salaries, and that's the end. So do we collect our salaries and sit in the university and we can't do anything?
The Higher Education in Ghana conference focused on addressing the challenges. Even though government has advised the public universities to devise innovative ways of funding themselves, it appears government support is still needed.
This distant education and all those things were to bring in more money. Then the government came out, the minister said they've removed the 25% for the private universities. And then they said we should bring 34% of ours to central. And that is where we are now. 34% of what?
The debate is likely to continue, especially as enrollment at the tertiary level is likely to increase by the year 2020 due to government's free senior high school program, which has increased enrollment at the senior high level by 18%. Minister of State in charge of tertiary education, Professor Kwesi Yanka, says there are interventions to salvage the situation before the year 2020.
A number of questions arise. Should public universities expand their infrastructure and other resources to cope with the expected influx of SHS graduates? Yes. And what are the implications of an enlarged University of Development Studies, which will soon split into 3 autonomous universities, Tamale, Wa, and Navarongo?
He advised private universities to take up the challenge of introducing more programs that are beneficial to the labor market.
Still live here on News 360 from the News Hub at Adesawe Kando. We've got sports news with Thierry Nan coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Let's take a look at what's making news on the international front. A U.S. cyclist who was sacked over a viral photo of her making an obscene gesture to President Donald Trump's motorcade is suing her former employer. Julie Briskman was fired by government contractor Akima LLC in November 2017 after a press photographer traveling with the president captured the image. Her lawyers argue her right to free speech was violated by the firing. A pool photographer shared the image with journalists and it quickly became the fodder of late-night TV comedians. A gunman has shot and killed 4 staff at a university in northwestern Turkey. Turkish media say the attacker is a research fellow at the city's Osman Gazi University and has been detained. Those killed are a deputy dean, a faculty secretary and 2 lecturers. The gunman's motive is not clear, but police are currently questioning him. Reports suggest the assailant surrendered after initially trying to escape. A European tour operator has denied that its clients were kidnapped and then rescued in Cameroon's southwest region. African Adventures said the group of 7 Swiss and 5 Italian nationals were briefly stopped by armed men at a checkpoint but were allowed to leave. The government said on Wednesday that its special forces had freed them after a fight with secessionist terrorists. The incident occurred in a restive English-speaking region. Residents in the Anglophone northwest and southwest regions of the country have been protesting against what they say is marginalized by Cameroon's Francophone majority. In recent months, separatists operating in the 2 regions have been demanding independence, with proponents calling for the creation of an independent state called Ambazonia. The Swiss tour operator said in a statement that all of its clients were safe and had not been subjected to violence.
Now, the losing party in Sierra Leone has vowed to mount a legal challenge against the results of the presidential runoff. Speaking to his supporters after his defeat, Samura Kamara alleged Saturday's poll was marred by irregularities and fraud. Fabian Swell is TV3's correspondent in Sierra Leone. She's actually in Freetown as she speaks. Fabian, thank you for your time. Good evening to you. Has Samura Kamara filed a legal challenge against Saturday's election results as yet?
Yes. In his speech he made yesterday at night after the announcement of the results, he alleged that there are several irregularities in the electioneering process, things about ballot stuffing and all other allegations. So they're saying they would be challenging the results.
I say this has been a very acrimonious election period for Sierra Leoneans. How are they settling down after the election of the president eventually?
It has been. Since the announcement of the results yesterday, it seems as if both parties were on standby. Well, you know how it gets. Word gets out to the public even before the official announcement. So before the announcement, in the evening hours, people had already known that the Sierra Leone People's Party won. So the supporters were on standby. So immediately the election results were announced, we could just hear the cheering all around the neighborhoods. They were just about, seeming as if it was more like a political rally. They were out and about celebrating, blowing their vuvuzelas, their whistles, and all about it. Since yesterday till now, it's just celebration for members and supporters of the Sierra Leone People's Party. It's like a carnival or a festival for them.
Was there a particular reason for the rash swearing in of Julius Madabio in the hotel in Freetown?
No, well, the election law says within 2 hours of the announcement of the results, the president should have been sworn in. So it was in line with our election laws. But as far back as venue goes, there is nothing stipulated in our laws about the particular venue as to where swearing in should be done.
Fabian, thank you for this update. Grateful. Fabian Swale is a correspondent in Sierra Leone. She's in Freetown, a TV3 correspondent. There's a lot more on this subsequently. This is still News 360. We're back with some MTN news.
All right, so good evening. It's now time for some entertainment and lifestyle news with me, Nana Kwadjwado, brought to you by Vodafone, Power to You, and FADMAX. Fuel your day. Now, we've been showing this series to you for a very long time. Juliet Nana Equia Mensah, otherwise known as Addo, from Ghana's Most Beautiful 2017 fame, has been talking to TV3 News, Entertainment News. And in this series, she's known as Carol.
Ejada mumi ensanyina mo yare ya mo mba adwuma ma na betwe loto na mam
sabani sa ye wo ya don bi o ni afre no abetra no ye adwuma na ma adwuma ye
oh sa mumi ensanyina mo yare ya
The Bunafo Region's representative in the 2017 edition of Ghana's Most Beautiful reality show, Addo, looks promising in her current role in Sadia, TV3's local drama series.
Carol is this village champion, let me just put it that way, a village champion who is very desperate to leave the village, to go outside and then live a very good life. And going with me, I can't go alone. I have to go with my friend Sadia.
Amina, is this how Accra is big? Hey! I have never seen this in my entire life. I've never seen it before. Hey! When I got down, I kept asking myself, is this Accra? Or is this Ghana?
City. You know, people think I'm a bad influence to Sadia, but no. She's my friend. She's an orphan. But she has to fight for herself when I'm not there. So there are certain things that I tell her, not because I'm trying to influence her life in a negative way. On GMB, I think we have this acting, but I didn't know I could do commercial. Is it commercial, like commercial act? I could do it big like this. So Sadia has given me the opportunity to bring out what I have. Sometimes I walk out and I get people to tell me that, hey, you're doing well. And it's my first time, so I don't know how it's done. So when I get people telling me that, oh, you're doing
She advises all young people who have a desire in acting to work hard at it. She believes talent coupled with the blessings of God is the right tool every actor or actress needs.
Talent. You have that talent or it's the will of God for you to act. Trust me, it will come to pass. But if it's not, just don't force it.
Really? Please sit down.
Pastor, your family Carol.
Okay.
Yes, I'm behind how you. Me say, Carol from Blonoma.
Do I know you?
Oh, no.
So that was Carol and from Ghana's Most Beautiful 2017. Now moving on to our lifestyle story for this evening. A study conducted by researchers at the Central Queensland University in Australia has revealed that people in relationships are more likely to gain weight than singles. To determine whether a person's relationship status can affect their ability to live a healthy lifestyle, the researchers assessed more than 15,000 adults, nearly three-quarters of who were romantically attached. The team discovered that people in relationships tended to follow healthier lifestyles as couples consumed a greater quantity of fruits and vegetables and avoided smoking, drinking too much alcohol, and eating fast food. However, interestingly, their body mass indices were still higher than the single individuals. That this could be down to a number of factors, such as feeling less pressure to look good and the impact of having children. The study also revealed parents may be tempted to eat their children's leftovers and snack foods, leading to an increase in weight gain. Interesting revelation there. I don't know, but if you're just going to get married, I'm sure that you should be taking this into consideration. That's about it for entertainment and lifestyle news with me, Nana Kwadjado, brought to you by Vodafone, Power to You, and FanMax, Fuel Your Day. Alfred.
Thank you, Ken. Now, let's go on to the telephone now. And Adam Bona is security analyst. He joins me on the telephone ahead of the president's nationwide address on the Ghana-U.S. military cooperation, defense cooperation agreement. Mr. Bona, thank you for your time. Good evening to you. What are your expectations ahead of the president's address, just about a minute away?
Thank you very much, and thank you. Good evening to your viewers and listeners. Well, my expectations are very basic. I'm expecting the president to, reassure the nation that the agreement that has been ratified.
Right. Mr. Bona, thank you very much for your time this evening, and I'm grateful for that straight to the point. Thank you very much for staying with us here on News 360. We're indeed very grateful. And just so you know, that the president's address on the Ghana-U.S. military cooperation agreement is going to be live here on TV3 in the next 30 seconds. My name is Alfred Akansi.
Absolutely. You can also watch it on our social media page. It's 3news.com. That's online on our social media page, and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. I'm Natalie Fort. Thanks for watching.